Hello students. So in this session we will learn the approximate methods for the analysis of rigid jointed two-dimensional multi-storied frames. Okay. In the previous session in the finite difference method we have analyzed the beams. Okay, various types of cantilever beam, simply supported beam, fixed beams. Likewise, by using finite difference method, there we have calculated the deflection at the proper intervals. Okay, so in this session we are going to use the finite difference method for the uh, analysis of the portal frames. So in our syllabus we have multi-bay two-dimensional rigid jointed frames. Okay, so multi-storied building frames subjected to lateral loads are statically indeterminate. Okay, so why we are going to use this finite difference method for analysis of indeterminate beams and frames. Okay, and the exact analysis by hand calculation like each time takes much time and effort, but using simple assumptions approximate analysis of frames yield a good estimate of member forces in the frame, which can be used for checking the member sizes. In approximate methods, the methods analysis of statically indeterminate structure is converted to statically determinate structure and then analyzed for member forces using law of statics. Okay, so here we are going to use two methods, and the methods are portal method, cantilever method, and third one is substitute frame method, which is not in our syllabus. So we are going to do the analysis by using portal frame method and cantilever method. Okay, portal and cantilever methods are applicable for lateral loads, and substitute frame method is applicable for vertical loading. Okay, so this is the difference, and again in what will be the difference between portal frame and cantilever frame method we are going to study stepwise. So first we'll study about the portal frame method or portal method. So this method is applicable for low rise buildings. Okay, so this is the main highlighting point between portal frame method and cantilever method is used for analysis of high rise structures or high rise multi-storied frames. Okay, so this question can be asked in the multiple choice objective question. So this method is applicable for low rise structures, and in low rise structures shear deformations are dominant. Therefore this method simplifying the assumption regarding a horizontal shear in column. Okay. Each bay of structure is treated as portal frame and horizontal force is distributed equally along them. So this means each interior column takes twice as much as external column. So see this diagram, and this is the main assumption in this portal method. So see this frame. Okay, so what we have assumed in the portal frame method, so or what is the main point in the portal frame method, it is the central column or middle column takes two times the horizontal shear as the exterior columns. Okay, so we'll see assumptions one by one. So by why we are going to assume these points, or why it is necessary to assume something to learn anything new. So because of this assumption the analysis gets clear and it will require much less time and our efforts. Okay, so we are going so see in every method, or if any we are going to study any principle in other subjects also, there are assumptions. So by using these assumptions our analysis or our principle, whatever theory that we are going to study, it will be easy and it will take a lesser time, and it will simplify our analysis and our work. So assumptions in portal frame method are the points of inflection. Now what is the point of inflection or point of contraflexure? It is the point where bending moment changes its sign. And what do you mean by bending moment changes its sign? If it is converting from positive movement to negative movement, so there will be at some point zero movement will be there. So that is point of zero movement, and that point is called as point of inflection or point of contraflexure. Okay, we have studied this. So where bending moment changes its sign, means at particular point there will be a zero movement from positive to negative or negative to positive conversion. So there will be at one stage there will be zero movement, and that zero movement point is known as point of inflection or point of contraflexure. Okay, so what is the first assumption in portal frame method? It is the points of inflection or point of contraflexure or point of zero movements are located at the mid height of each column. Okay, for mid height of each column, and for hinge base it is at hinge column base. Okay, and second assumption is the point of inflection are located at mid span of beam. Okay, for column it is at mid height, and for beams it is mid span of beam. Okay, easy. Then the total horizontal shear at any floor is divided along all the columns, and on the basis that each interior column takes twice as much as the exterior column. Okay, so this is the important assumption in portal method. Okay, so these are the assumptions. So in the what we'll study what is the procedure for the analysis of portal method. The procedure for analysis of portal method is: consider the free body diagram of upper story by assuming point of inflection or point of contraflexure at the mid height of column. That is the first assumption that we have studied, and horizontal shear resist by each column using assumption. So in the first step we are going to assume that point of inflection or point of contraflexure or point of zero movement is exactly at the mid height of column, and it exactly at the mid span for the beams, and by using this assumption we'll find the horizontal shear resisted by each column. Okay, then in second step point of contraflexures are also assumed. This is for beam. Okay, and then again this we have divided our frame into two stories, first story and second story. Okay, if it is multi-storied frame, so we'll distribute first story or upper part of story, and we'll do this first and second step, and then for the uh, second story or second half part of the frame we'll do repeat this same procedure for step 1 and step 2. Okay, for each story, and then we'll calculate the member forces. So what will be our conclusion or what will be the outcome of our analysis? We are going to calculate the member forces. Okay, so this is the outcome of the analysis by portal method. So whatever the reactions or movements there are in the frame, that we are going to calculate by using approximate methods. Okay, so this is, and then last step is to draw the bending moment diagram on tension side. So we'll see one numerical by using the portal frame. So analyze the given frame by using portal method and draw the bending moment diagram. So this is the two-story frame loaded with a lateral loads of 25 kilonewton on first story. So if we are considering this as a first story, we'll consider this as a second story, or vice versa, whatever convenient to you. So 25 kilonewton and 50 kilonewton loads are there, lateral loads to the joints, and the dimensions, height and length of the columns and beams are also given. And if they have not mentioned on this point A, B, C, D, then we are supposed to mention the point for our convenience. Okay, so we'll start with the solution. The first step is what we are going to do. We are going to distribute our structure in two stories. Okay, this is first story, so this part we'll consider first, and this second part we'll consider later on, and we'll repeat the steps. Okay, so we have what we have done in the first step. We have divided our frame into first half part, and considering the free body diagram of upper story and assuming point of inflection at mid height of column, apply summation of horizontal forces is equals to 0. And what is the assumption? That the second interior column takes the twice as much as load of the exterior column. So this is the assumption, and accordingly we have written as H, 2H and H. Okay, and since this 25 kilonewton load is acting in this direction, so we have, or this frame or these columns have to resist this 25 kilonewton load in the opposite direction. So sign of this H or horizontal force, resisting force, is towards the opposite direction, okay, of 25 kilonewton load. Okay, so just remember, when there is a reaction there is equal and opposite, when there is action there is equal and opposite reaction. So based on this concept only all this portal frame method analysis is done and cantilever frame analysis is done. Okay, so we calculate the horizontal force H is equals to 6.25 kilonewton. Okay, then next step is considering the free body diagram of each part of upper story and assume point of inflection at mid height of beam. So by using the assumption that the point of inflection at mid height of column, we have calculated this horizontal force. Okay, we have calculated this horizontal force, and by using the second assumption that the point of inflection is at the mid span of the beam, we have calculated member forces. So we have done this analysis in our engineering mechanics also. Okay, there we have studied how to calculate member forces. Okay, so use the same concept here and do the calculation. So it is very easy, and tricky part just we have to focus it, or we have to concentrate 100%. Okay, so these are the member forces. So here, so what you have to do in the second step, just draw the free body diagram and locate all the unknown forces. Okay, so there are forces at the each joint, okay, or each junction, sorry. Okay, so here we have forces, here it is the, what is this part, this is the center of the span. Okay, and this is the mid height, this is mid height of column, and this is the mid span of the beam. So there are the forces, and there we have assumed the point of zero movement. Okay, so we have to maintain the equilibrium here also. Okay, so just see this part, I'll zoom in and just see this part. Okay, so this 4.16 we are going to calculate it in next step, or on I have shown the written calculation for this member forces. So just see, whatever is the 4.16 kilo Newton force direction, so in the opposite direction there will be the force from the same point. Okay, and this 18.75. Okay, so finally the resultant movement will be 0. So we have to maintain the equilibrium, and we have assumed that the point of inflection means what, point of zero movement is exactly at the center for the column, and it at exactly at the center of the span for the beams. Okay, so we are going to maintain the equilibrium. What is mean by equilibrium? So we, summation of movement is equals to 0, summation of horizontal forces and summation of vertical forces is equals to 0. So this means equilibrium. So if any part of the beam is having more load and any part is having some lesser load, so then there will not be equilibrium. For equilibrium we have to maintain all these equilibrium equations is equals to 0. So movement, vertical and horizontal reactions is equals to 0. This is the equilibrium equation. So just draw the just draw the free body diagram and locate the unknown forces here, and then just do this calculation part. Okay, now just we are supposed to take summation of summation of horizontal forces at this J joint is equals to 0. Okay, so then calculate whatever the forces coming and going from this joint, and then calculate horizontal reaction Hj will get. Okay, likewise, so we'll by using summation we cannot use here or we don't need to use all the three equilibrium condition. We just have to use the two conditions of equilibrium at each joint, and then we'll get sorted. So horizontal force is there, vertical force is there, and movement. By using the summation of movement is equals to 0, we'll get here vertical load VL. Okay, vertical load, that is 4.16. So this is L point. Okay, so likewise we are going to take the summation of, or we are going to apply the equilibrium conditions or equilibrium equation to the each joint over here. So this is first joint. Here we have applied summation of horizontal forces is equal to 0. So here we are applied summation of moment is equals to 0. Here summation of horizontal forces, here summation of movement, summation of horizontal forces, and summation of movement, and accordingly we have calculated vertical and horizontal reaction points. Okay, so this will, and then and again here there is a check if or we are going in the correct way only if the summation of vertical and horizontal forces at the particular joint or at that particular inflection point is equals to 0, then only we are going in the correct way. Okay, then draw same, we have done this procedure or we have done this step for this first half. Okay, so this is the first half or first story, then we are going to repeat the same thing to the second half or second story. Okay, now third step is to repeat the step number 1 and 2 for the whole story or second story or third story or whole frame likewise. So considering free body diagram of two story by assuming point of inflection at mid height of column on ground floor. Okay, and why we have to consider this 25 kilonewton load for uh, calculation of this horizontal force on the ground floor. Okay, so just remember only one thing. So it is because this column will have some effect or some load of this 25 kilonewton load at the base of the column. Okay, it is by common sense or by general, or this is the principle of loading only. So accordingly we have to take this 25 kilonewton load into consideration for calculation of this horizontal force at the bottom or at the ground floor. Okay, so we have calculated this, and here what we have assumed, the point of inflection or point of contraflexure or point of zero moment is exactly at the mid height of the column on the ground floor. Okay, then next assumption and next step is to assume that the point of inflection is exactly at the midspan of beam. Okay, so we have to, or we are going to apply this assumption to whole story, or we are going to consider the uh, first path, that is whatever the loading condition or whatever the loading differences because of this 25 kilonewton horizontal load, the first story, that part also, and this 50 kilonewton part also. But here what we are supposed to do, we know all this loading over here we have calculated in the step 1 and step 2. So we know these values, so and this is one advantage for the second story, and we are going to calculate this part. So just write whatever unknowns are there, and even though whatever the sign or whatever the arrows you are showing, upward, downward, leftward or towards rightwards, no, nothing matters, whatever the calculation. So if anything comes here is negative, that is suppose for here Vs it will be minus 20.30, just change its sign over here. okay, and nothing will be changed or nothing will hamper. Okay, so whatever you are doing is correct way only if you get summation of forces and summation of movement at that particular joint is equals to 0. So this is the self check or this is the check, and if you are satisfying this equilibrium condition, then you are correct. So by using this principle, just calculate the member forces. This apply summation of fx is equals to 0 and then summation of movement is equals to 0. You get the both the horizontal and vertical forces at that particular point. So here we'll get HQ and here we'll get VQ. Okay. The similar way apply it over here and apply it over here. Okay. So this is the portal frame method of analysis. Okay, and we'll continue the same with the cantilever method and then we'll done with this unit. So next method or next step is cantilever method of analysis, and as I have told you, this cantilever method of analysis is used for high rise buildings and portal frame method is used for low rise buildings. So what are the assumptions? Some assumptions are going parallelly. So in cantilever method, the assumptions are the point of inflection occurs at the midspan of each column. Each beam, midspan of beam and mid height of column. Okay, the two assumptions are here the same. Okay, in the both the methods. Next is what? There in portal frame we have this assumption that the central column or interior column carries twice the load as the exterior column. Okay, so this assumption is there in the portal frame method, but the third assumption is different in the cantilever method. So what is this third assumption? It is the axial forces in columns are directly proportional to their distances from centroidal axis of frame. Okay, what is means? It is the axial forces in columns are directly proportional to the centroidal axis of frame. So this is the assumption. This third assumption is different in both the methods. Okay, so by using this assumption we'll calculate the member forces. Okay, same way we are going to use the concept at equilibrium. We are going to apply the equilibrium conditions, summation of fx or fy is equals to 0 and then summation of movement is equals to 0, and accordingly we'll calculate. So what is the first step? So this is the question that we have asked in the exam also. Okay, so analyze the frame by cantilever method. Then here CG of columns are equal. Therefore, member forces are determined by static equilibrium conditions. So first step is to draw the free body diagram of the first half or first story, and then do the analysis, and then similarly apply it for second story and do the analysis. Okay, so as per the assumption 3, axial forces are proportional to their distances from centroidal axis. So V or whatever, suppose this is V1 force, sorry, this is V1 force, this is V2 and this is V3 axial force. Okay, horizontal. So divided by divided by the centroidal distance from the vertical CG. So what is the centroidal distance? Centroidal distance. So in case this is V1, V2, V3. Okay, and what is the centroidal distance? It is perpendicular distance. So this distance is given as 4 meter, so divided by 2 we get 2 meter as the centroidal distance. Okay, and then we are going to apply the equilibrium condition and we'll get the forces in members. So y is for vertically load and x is for horizontal load, or h is for horizontal load, and accordingly we'll get this movement. So it is very simple, and it is by comparing both the methods, sometimes cantilever method requires lesser time, as portal frame method. Okay, and then we'll get the member forces. So similarly, just apply it for the second half. We have done it for first half, and then do for the second half part. Okay, and everything will be same. Okay, so this will cover our topic of approximate methods. Okay, here we have studied portal frame method and cantilever frame method, and we have why to do this approximate method analysis. It is for the frames. Okay, portal frame method is for low rise or for low rise structures or low rise frames, and cantilever frame method is for high rise beam frames and buildings. Okay, thank you. If you have any doubts regarding these methods, then you can directly contact me, and just don't forget to mark your attendance by commenting the name and roll number in the comment box. Okay, thank you.